The life and sad ending of Mark Chesnutt. Neo honky-tonker Mark Chesnutt parlayed a solid grounding in classic country into chart-topping stardom during the 90s. Mark Chesnutt was born Mark Nelson Chesnutt on September 6, 1963 in Beaumont, Texas. Chesnutt grew up listening to his father's extensive country record collection. Bob Chesnutt had been a locally popular singer who never hit it big, and thus worked as a used car salesman. Chesnutt learned both guitar and drums and made his professional singing debut with his father's band at age 15 on the local club scene. He even dropped out of high school for a time to pursue music, but later reconsidered and got his diploma. Meanwhile, his father began taking him to Nashville for recording sessions. During the 80s, Chesnutt released singles on local labels like the San Antonio-based Axe Bar, where he also issued a full album, Doing My Country Thing, and the Houston-based Cherry. He also served as the house headliner at the Beaumont Club Cutters, where his band often featured future star Tracy Byrd. After around a decade of dues paying, positive word of mouth finally helped Chesnutt land a record deal with MCA. Chesnutt's debut album, Too Cold at Home, was released in 1990, and the title track became his first hit, climbing into the country's top 5. With a style that blended George Jones, Merle Haggard, and Bob Willis, Chesnutt went on to score 4 more big top 10 hits from the album The Number 1, Brother Jukebox, Blame It on Texas, Your Love is a Miracle, and Broken Promised Land. By the time that string ran out, Chesnutt had finished his follow-up, 1992's Long Necks and Short Stories. It gave him 4 more top 5 singles in Bubba Shot the Jukebox, one of Chesnutt's signature songs. Old Flames Have New Names, the chart-topping I'll Think of Something, and Old Country. Chesnutt kept his hit machine status going on 1993's Almost Goodbye, which gave him 3 more chart toppers in the title track, It Sure Is Monday, and I Just Wanted You to Know. 1994's What a Way to Live offered the number 1, Gonna Get a Life, and the number 2, Goin' Through the Big D. For 1995's Wings, MCA briefly resurrected its Decca country imprint and made Chesnutt the flagship artist. While the album wasn't the hit factory of its predecessors, many critics dubbed it one of Chesnutt's most eclectic and consistent sets. Seeking to restore his commercial momentum, MCA issued Greatest Hits in 1996, and the new song, It's a Little Too Late, went all the way to number 1. 1997's Thank God for Believers found Chesnutt back on MCA Nashville and produced a number 2 hit in the title cut. For 1999's I Don't Want to Miss a Thing, Chesnutt flirted with crossover material, namely the titular Diane Warren ballad that became a big hit for Aerosmith. Praised by many critics for its relative subtlety, Chesnutt's version topped the country charts for a month and even reached the pop top 20. Despite that success, the album's other singles didn't perform as well, and his 2000 follow-up album, Lost in the Feeling, was something of a flop in comparison to his past work. Chesnutt and MCA subsequently parted ways, and he signed with Columbia for 2002's Mark Chesnutt, which sold decently but didn't quite mark a return to past glories. That doesn't mean Chesnutt lost his audience, though, and he released Savin' the Honky Tonk on Vivatone Records in 2004, followed by Heard It in a Love Song from CBUJ Entertainment in 2006. Rollin' with the Flow appeared in 2008, followed by 2010's Outlaw, which featured covers of outlaw country classics. Chesnutt followed Outlaw 6 years later with Tradition Lives, his first collection of new original material in 8 years. Chesnutt has been married to the former Tracy Motley since 1992. The two met in a bar, and according to Chesnutt, she came out there with a guy she was with at the time, and I took her away from him. The couple has 3 sons, Waylon, Casey, and Cameron. Waylon was named after Waylon Jennings, who jokingly suggested during the recording sessions for their cover of Rainy Day Woman that the then-pregnant Tracy name their child after him. Although Jennings later stated that the suggestion was a joke, Chesnutt decided to choose the name anyway. In late 1995, following Waylon Chesnutt's birth, Tracy typically stayed home at the couple's house in Jasper, Texas, while also working as an artist. The birth of his sons also caused Chesnutt to tour less frequently by the end of the 1990s, and he wanted to be able to spend more time with his family. Chesnutt's musical persona placed a greater emphasis on song quality over physical attractiveness, compared to the move towards young and attractive males that prevailed in country music in the 1990s. He was constantly pressured by label heads to record more mainstream-friendly country pop instead of the traditional sounds of his earlier albums, due to the genre shift away from the neo-traditional country having a negative impact on his album sales. Mark Chesnutt, at the age of 58, he is worthy of the previous efforts. Many people say the pressure in any job will be encountered, but perhaps everything for him is more than enough. He wants a peaceful life, and as a fan, I support him with his personal decision.